Hi everybody, Dhaman Mehta here, and thank you for once again joining me on my journey as I go through my favorites list on fanfiction.net. Uh, for those of you that don't know, I've been reading fanfiction for a very long time, and I decided to go back through the first site that I ever read fanfiction on and go through all my favorites lists and see if I still liked these stories or, if they had updated and are worth revisiting constantly after so many years. So I'm up to, I sorted them by publication date, so I'm up to 2014 November right now. So still got a bit to go before I hit the end, about 140 stories ish or so. So let's dive in, starting with Harry the Hufflepuff 3 Harry's Year Off by BajaB. And this is the the third year of Lazy Harry, where Harry basically just became a lazy guy and just decided to just do the least amount of work to try and get stuff out of it. And this is another year where a lot of stuff happens that Harry somehow manages to benefit from with the goal of doing the bare minimum. Like, the story has a nice relaxing ridiculousness that makes it a joy to read as absurd situations rear up again and again through Harry's schemes, and it starts becoming a little bit contagious as the other characters start coping with his behavior and start modifying their behavior to fit the progress and benefits that they're seeing, so it's all overall good times. I had a lot of fun. It's gonna stay on my list. And side notes for this, there are two more sequels to this that weren't actually put on my list, so they're not going to be talked about in later videos. But those two sequels are there, and the latest one was just completed rather recently, so the author still might actually get to finishing all 7 years of Harry's. So that's all great news. But yeah, stays on my list. Number 2 is Reading a Father's Love by Kyoka Suigetsu Totsuka. And this is a reaction fic, reading the story, that's actually written by the author of the original fic, which I'm pretty sure is the only one I've read that's this situation, a reaction fic of their own work. But aside from that, it's pretty standard as a Percy Jackson reaction fic. Setup is the same as most of them that I've seen, where it's just most of the Olympians and some heroes stuck on Olympus reading the story. Though as it continues, we do get a couple other new visitors from the world of the story they're reading. But the fic doesn't even get through half of the chapters that are available in the original story before the author stopped updating. And while there's a bunch of fun, like a couple moments of humor to be found in the story where Athena and Aphrodite are both chasing after Naruto, what's here is mainly stuck in the very early setup stages of the story, and so the bigger interesting scenes aren't really there to react to, and it's not present, and what's left is okay. It was fun enough to read once, but it's not something I would revisit multiple times, so for that reason it's going to fall off my list. Number 3 is The Hand Bites Back by Andrew Joshua Talon. And this is a sequel story to Biting the Hand That Feeds You, which was a really fun story that takes place during the summer after Harry's 6th year, where a lot of stuff happens because of a boycott between the Muggle world and stuff, and there's a lot of crazy shit going on there, which is really entertaining. This sequel story is another one where it's they wanted to write a sequel and they got a couple chapters, but then just dropped it, and so didn't really get much out of it as a standalone thing. Reading it, if it was connected to the other story and just the start of a new arc in the other story is that, you'll get it's fine, because you would get a couple good laughs out of it. But as it's by itself, these 4 chapters just aren't substantial enough to warrant revisiting, so it's going to fall off my list. Number 4 is I'm Not Going Through Puberty Again by Evil Fuzzy 9. This is a Naruto time travel fic where Naruto, Sakura, Hinata, and Sasuke end up waking up in the bodies of their 12-year-old selves and just deciding to curb stomp everyone until they wait to get back home. Um, it's really fun. The story, this is like post epilogue compliant characters, and the protagonists all have like laid back attitudes to their situation. They're just like, well, something happened, we didn't do it, so obviously the people are working on it to fix it, so we'll just enjoy ourselves while we're here. Um, and that's fun. And then so we have the Boruto timeline characters enjoying their renewed youth, except for the fact that they can't have sex because they're having gone through puberty. And then we get to the end of the Chunin exams, where now we jump to the other half of the story, which is the Boruto timeline, where it turns out, no, it wasn't just them being sent back, but their younger minds were sent to the future, and they have to deal with everything over there. So that's all fun. The whole story is like enjoyable in a nice casual way, and you get like constant small laughs, and I just had a lot of fun with this, so it's gonna stay on my list. Next is Truth Builds Trust by Obsessed with Reading. And this is another Percy Jackson reaction fic, where this time Percy and a couple of his friends are reading the actual books, the canon books. So this is a sequel. So this is them reading the second book, and it's fine. I think this is a little better than the first one, but overall it's still not very entertaining to me. I just found it okay. If you want to reread the second Percy Jackson book with basically every other line being one of the people interrupting with, oh, Percy, you didn't notice that? Or Percy, really? Oh, Percy, how can you be so stupid? Like, you'll like this, but I did not, so it's going to fall off my list. So number 6, I believe, is Trump Card by AC1308. And this is a worm story where Taylor gets the ability to copy the powers of parahumans around her and use them better than they can, apparently. And then she joins up with Uber and Leet. So I had never finished this story originally, so finding that it was complete, I hadn't even realized that, so that was a treat for me. But I feel like this story is a step below the other stories that I've had on this list by this author. I was like, when I was going through it, the ending kind of came out of nowhere. Like, it surprised me because like I was going through it and it's like, oh hey, there's like 37 chapters and this is a complete story, and like I'm getting to 30 and like we haven't even reached like Leviathan or anything yet. So like there's a lot here, and then the author just decided I guess he just decided, okay, I just want to end this, and so just pulls out a super MacGuffin out of nowhere and just rushes the ending in like 4 chapters. Which is, yeah, that was like a little weird. I enjoyed the team dynamic between Taylor and Uber and Leet. That was fun, and the cat and mouse game they were having with the PRT because of how her situation was initially dealt with. And I think it was going, but I think like the author just was kind of I can only speculate and see like maybe the author was seeing that like it was kind of falling into a rut, and like the motivation might have been running dry, so they just wanted to get to an ending, so like let's rush it and finish it. Because like that's kind of the only thing I can really see as like if the story had progressed the way it was going, Taylor basically would have become unstoppable and untouchable as things were going on, and that kind of would have probably been pretty boring as it was going for how this was there. So yeah, I think the story's okay. It's just not something I feel like I would want to reread again and again. I think it's good, but yeah, just not something I want to revisit, and I think there's the author like has much more entertaining stories available, so this one is going to fall off my list. And finally, for this video, we have Professor Arc by Kor Al Aran. This guy is a Ruby fanfic author who writes a lot. Like, he is the author I probably read the most nowadays. And this is one of his first stories. I think it's literally his second story. And I love this guy's writing style a lot. He has his main character preference is usually Jean. Mainly because he likes using him as like he's more of a blank slate setup, so he can put him in all kinds of weird scenarios. This one is a comedy where John's fake transcripts are so good that he gets hired as a teacher instead of just becoming another student to get in. And it's just really entertaining. Like, the world is like a sitcom like nature. That's honestly, that's prevalent in a lot of his stories. And like, it's all like exaggerated characters where like just everybody rolling with the craziness, and then John playing the straight man to it in a sense, while trying to keep his head above water with dealing with all these situations. It's just really fun. Comes with a lot of like reoccurring gags and stuff like that, and it's just really, I just really liked it a lot. All the relationships and the craziness is like, John has to just deal with like, befriending the teachers and getting into relationships because they think he's older than he is, and the normal girls like trying to flirt with the teacher and stuff. Like, it's all pretty fun. I just highly recommend this a lot, and its sequel. The sequel actually is not on my list because pretty sure I just didn't add. Like, I was surprised when I went through how few stories from this author are actually on my list based on how much I've been reading. But I think the main reason is one, a lot of these, obviously I kept reading them. I basically stopped adding stories to my list after I started doing this journey because I didn't want to keep expanding my list forever. And that's definitely a good thing because I would have had so many more stories probably on my list if I'd kept doing this. But also I think because like I was just like, I just favorited the author, so all his stories I get alerts for. But yeah, I really love this and its sequel. Highly recommend. It's going to stay on my list. So there we have it. Fan fiction status time. I've now read 520. No, sorry. I've read 1,106 stories, and 521 of them have stayed on my list. So there we go. As always, I will leave links to the stories in the description, as well as a link to the playlist and everything else. So feel free to give them a look and make your opinion of it yourself. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.